I, 32 male, have been married to my wife, 30 female, for 7 years. We live in the Chicago suburbs, both have solid corporate jobs, and I honestly thought we were the power couple of our friend group. That illusion didn't just crack. It pulverized 3 months ago over a plate of lukewarm Thai takeout. My wife put her fork down, looked me dead in the eye, and said she felt stifled. She told me she married too young and needed to explore other people to stay in the marriage. Then came the ultimatum. I want an open marriage, take it or leave it. I've already downloaded the apps. I sat there staring at my pad thai, feeling 7 years of loyalty being flushed down the toilet. I knew her. She's a bulldozer. If I said no, she'd just do it behind my back and call it growth. If I said yes, I'd be the guy waiting at home while she was out with strangers. I saw a level of entitlement in her eyes that actually chilled me. She wasn't asking for a discussion. She was telling me she was going to cheat with my permission. I decided right then that if she wanted to play a high-stakes game, I'd let her, but I'd be the one holding the deck. I looked her back and said, "Fine, let's try it." She was ecstatic. Within 48 hours, she had 3 dates lined up. She didn't even try to be low-key about it. She'd sit on the couch right next to me, giggling at her phone and swiping through guys while I worked late on my laptop. But I wasn't doing spreadsheets for my boss. I was consulting with a high-end family law attorney. I needed to know the ground rules for the end of my marriage. Illinois is a no-fault state, so her lifestyle wouldn't automatically lose her everything. However, my lawyer pointed out dissipation of assets. If she used our joint money for her dates, I could claim it back. I started a secret spreadsheet. Every dinner she bought for a guy, every Uber to a hotel, every sexy outfit she charged to our joint card, it all went into the file with a timestamp. The tension peaked as our 8th anniversary approached. Usually, we do a nice steakhouse and a weekend getaway. This year, she told me she had plans. She wasn't even going to spend our anniversary with me. She booked a luxury suite downtown to spend the entire weekend with her primary guy, some gym rat she'd been seeing for 3 weeks. She even had the audacity to ask me to cover her half of the mortgage that month because she'd spent so much on her anniversary outfit and the hotel. I just smiled and told her to go enjoy herself because she deserved it. While she was gone that weekend, I didn't mope. I spent the time with a locksmith and a junk removal service. I had a plan that relied on her being predictably entitled, but I didn't expect the universe to hand me a winning lottery ticket on Sunday night. I was finishing a glass of bourbon when she called, sounding frantic and gross. "I'm at the urgent care," she hissed. "Get here now." When I arrived, she was in an exam room looking like a wreck. A few minutes later, the doctor walked in, looking back and forth between us. He asked if I was the husband and I said yes. He cleared his throat and said that since I was there, he had to be direct. My wife tested positive for an acute, high-load chlamydia infection. He said given her symptoms, she was exposed recently, and they needed my contact info and insurance to start me on prophylactic treatment since I'd obviously been exposed too. The silence was so heavy you could have cut it with a knife. My wife looked like she wanted to evaporate. She started stammering about how it was one mistake, and the guy said he was clean. I looked at the doctor, and then at her. I told him there was no need to treat me. I explained that we hadn't been intimate in months because she'd been in an open marriage mostly on her end. I told him I hadn't touched her since she started her dates, and to check her records, she was the only patient he had that day. My wife's head snapped up, and she tried to claim we were together 2 weeks ago. I just pulled out my phone and mentioned the Ring camera footage of me sleeping in the guest room and my late-night work logs. I told the doctor to give her the bill and make sure she used her personal credit card, the one she used for the hotel that weekend. The doctor looked super uncomfortable and stepped out. The second the door closed, she turned into a demon. She screamed at me for embarrassing her and said it was my fault because if I were a better husband, she wouldn't have looked elsewhere. The entitlement was insane. She caught an STD on our anniversary with another man, and I was somehow the villain. I told her I was leaving. She shouted that I wasn't going anywhere and that I had to take care of her because she was my wife. I told her she was a tenant and her lease just expired. I drove home and saw the results of my weekend work. The locks were changed. Every single thing she owned. Her designer shoes, her clothes, her vanity, even her favorite espresso machine was gone. I'd had it all moved into a climate-controlled storage unit 3 miles away. She showed up 45 minutes later, pounding on the door and screaming. I opened it just a crack on the security chain. She was crying and clutching her antibiotics, asking why her key didn't work. I told her it was because she didn't live there anymore. I'd filed for legal separation that morning, and my lawyer was filing the divorce petition the next day. I told her I'd frozen the joint accounts to stop her from spending more of our money on her boyfriends. She shrieked that it was her house because she was on the deed. I agreed and told her that when it sold, she'd get her share, minus the thousands she'd wasted on her dates and the cost of the storage unit I had to rent for her. I gave her the storage unit key and the gate code and told her to find a hotel. Maybe the one from the weekend had a loyalty program. She tried to shove her way in, claiming it was illegal to throw her out while she was sick. I told her I'd already called the police non-emergency line to report a domestic dispute and her erratic behavior. I told her if she didn't leave, I'd have them escort her. She looked at me with pure hate and threatened to take half of my 401k and tell everyone I was a prick who kicked her out while she was ill. I told her to go ahead and tell her religious parents exactly why we were splitting up. That shut her up real quick. The next few weeks were a circus of entitlement. She hired a lawyer who specialized in aggrieved spouses and demanded temporary spousal support, arguing she shouldn't have to downscale her lifestyle just because I earned more. She even sent an itemized list of what she wanted from the house, stuff like our $5,000 leather sofa and our 65-inch OLED TV. I didn't say a word. I just let the discovery phase do the work. As the financial documents rolled in, I found out she had a secret credit card she'd opened 6 months before she ever asked for an open marriage. She had been funding dates way longer than she let on. She'd spent nearly $12,000 on hotels and trips, including a Miami getaway she claimed was a work conference. My lawyer was ecstatic. It was a massive case of financial fraud against the marriage. We called a settlement conference. My wife walked in looking like she'd been at a spa, totally smug. She demanded the house be sold, 60% of the proceeds, and $2,000 a month in alimony because she had medical trauma from the clinic incident. I just asked her if she'd seen the discovery findings yet. I laid out the $12,000 secret card and the Miami trip. Then I dropped the real bomb. I'd hired a private investigator. Her primary guy wasn't some random dude. He was the husband of her best friend at her office. I asked her what her HR department would think about her having an affair with a colleague's husband on company time, or what her best friend would think. She went pale. I told her that if we went to trial, everyone, the boyfriend, the boss, the doctor, would be subpoenaed to testify about her lifestyle. I told her the only way to keep this quiet was to sign my deal. I keep the house, I buy out her share minus the $16,000 she stole for her dates and my legal fees, no alimony, and no 401k. She screamed that it wasn't fair and that she deserved something for 7 years of marriage. I told her she got chlamydia and she should consider that her severance package. Her lawyer realized the game was over and told her to sign before her reputation was toasted. She sobbed while she signed, not because she was sorry, but because she'd lost. The final judgment was entered 2 weeks later. I kept the house and my retirement. Her best friend found out about the affair and my wife was fired for conduct unbecoming after a huge fight in their office lobby. The gym rat blocked her the second he found out about the infection. I'm sitting on my leather sofa right now in a quiet, clean house. I learned a lot about the cost of opening a marriage that was never meant to be shared. It turns out justice isn't just a concept. Sometimes it's a legally binding medical report. Since my ex-wife was so obsessed with opening things, she's currently opening a lot of canned soup in her tiny new studio apartment. If you want to make sure your own front door stays locked against that kind of drama, hit that subscribe button.